welcome to this week's Weekend Watch, guys. Thanks for always us watching, and thanks to SBK for sponsoring as well. This week's racing is from Sandown and Haydock, and I'm sure if the guys have got anything for you from anywhere else, we'll get that in for you as well. Daryl Carter joined, and pleased to say that Andrew did decide to come back and work with us after all, so he's back this week as well. We managed all right without him. We got a couple of wieners. That'd be weird. Got a couple of wieners.
Here we go.
Sorry, guys. That didn't take long at all. It was an accident, though. So we go to Sandown first. Obviously, we've got a bit of rain forecast there. I think it's already soft ground, so do keep an eye on that. We start sprinting at 150. Group 3 over 5 furlongs. Really like the look and the profile of Atalis Bay for this. I thought was impressive over the course and distance last time. Does like to lead, but doesn't have to. And I think the ground as well will be fine. I don't think that Atalis Bay is best on the very soft ground, but I think it might suit that one more than a few others. So that would be my kind of little bit in there. Andrew, as you had the whole week off last week, do you want to go first?
Yeah, nothing's changed in my absence, though. You've stolen my thunder yet again with Atalis Bay. I opposed him here last time with a short price, thinking that maybe the stiff track wouldn't be 100% ideal, but it was no problem whatsoever. And the key to this race, although there are others I prefer in terms of ability, like Arecibo and Came from the Dark, he does look to be the sole pace angle in this race. There's a couple who can sort of chase leaders, race prominently, but most of these are exaggerated hold-up horses like Arecibo and Came from the Dark. Both great horses and heading the market justifiably so. But I just thought here, with Atalis Bay improving hand over fist, maybe he could just ping out and make all here as he did over course and distance last time out. Marco Botti's saying he's fast improving. He's won on good to soft ground at Haydock. They were worried about the ground when he won on that. That was last year. But he seems to go on absolutely anything, whether it's all weather, fast turf, slow turf. I mean, there's not a lot of rain forecast at Sandown until Saturday, when there could be 4.5 mil during racing. So I'm guessing that they're obviously not going to water. It could be fairly dry come Saturday, but I think either way, Atalis Bay is going to be fine. And I think around about 9 to 1, 10 to 1, he's going to give you a good run for your money. We went through a few years where that far side rail didn't seem to be the place to be at Sandown in sprints, but that seems to have reverted to type now, with plenty of horses making all from low draws up that rail. So hopefully Atalis Bay can ping and go here and hold on.
Agreed. Carlisle?
Against Auria, I think this is all about Came from the Dark. I'm quite surprised he's as big as he is at 9 to 2, to be quite honest. I thought he would have won at Newmarket last time, beat Lazuli with a clear run. The time before that, he was comfortably on top at Newbury. He's another one that's rapidly improving. 3-year-olds only get £5 in this. I don't think it's going to be too significant, to be honest with you. And I think for this horse being drawn a little bit wider in stall 9, I think that's going to suit him, because he's going to get a clear run down the outside. There's normally a lot of scrimmaging at Sandown against that rail. I think he's going to get clear sailing straight down the outside. I think he's the best horse in the race. He's the most improving horse in the race. If he'd have run in the King's Stand, I think he would have finished in the 3.
Yeah, why didn't he run at Ascot, Daryl? Do you any idea? Because when I did my anti-post preview, I put him up as my tip for that race, Came from the Dark, and then because he was only entered in the July Cup, wasn't he, in the run-up to the meeting, and then didn't appear in either. So I just wonder if there's been a little problem or not.
I have no idea, but yeah, I mean the race would have definitely suited him as it panned out, wouldn't it? How hard they went suited Arecibo just fine. I think he would have run a similar sort of race. So I can see one or two of them at the top of the market. I just think Came from the Dark's got plenty more to come, and I think a stiff finish over 5 furlongs will definitely suit him. Andrew touched on the pace. I thought Lazuli will probably try and go forward as well in this. I think there will end up being a nice bit of pace in this race. You don't tend to get a soft lead over 5 furlongs. Yeah, Came from the Dark for me. I mean, I fancied him I would have fancied him in Group 1 company. I definitely fancy him in Group 3 company. So I think he's the one to beat. I'm surprised he's not a shorter price favourite around 11 to 4.
Okay. Me and Andrew agreeing then. Daryl not. We go to Sandown then for the 225. Good quality, difficult look in this. Wide open Class 2 handicap. I'll give you mine first. Magical Morning, I thought with Frankie up. I do like Magical Morning. Can be a little bit keen, so draw might not be that helpful, but I thought the form from last season was good. I don't really think Frankie gave this horse a very good ride last time out. I think he tried to dictate a slow pace and then He just got outpaced and plenty flew by in the closing stages. But that was the first run for a while. I don't think we've seen the best either of Magical Morning yet. So looking forward to hopefully seeing that one improve in the 225. But Montatham is the favourite just about at the moment, with our Irish jockey that's now over here. Adam Farah gets to take off £5, Daryl.
Yeah, 0 for 18 though, isn't he? I don't. Montatham, I can see why he's at the top of the market. He's pretty solid. He always runs his race. But his penultimate start back in the last term. He's a rock solid horse. He's a decent horse, but he's not rapidly improving for me. I think this is his sort of level. I don't think. I can't see him running in group company or anything like that. Acquitted has been frustrating. Was poor in this race last year. Magical Morning, I can see taking a step forward from the seasonal return, but just not entirely convinced. The horse is well handicapped. I like 2 in this. I'm going to take a stab at 2. Plant a Dream is one that I tipped up at Epsom when he was given far too much to do last time behind Corazano Espinado. He needs just a bit more prominent ride. I'm slightly concerned about the ground. If any more rain does come for him, I'd be slightly worried. But I can't let him go off at a double figure price and not just have a little bit on him. But my main fancy is definitely Beat Le Bon. I thought his run behind Real World at Ascot in the Royal Hunt Cup was very, very eye-catching. He did the best of those on the far side rail, other than the winner. He's finished 5th. Now, the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, and 17th home were all on the near side rail. And he was 7 lengths clear of the remainder over on that side. He was slowly away at the time as well. Gave the leader a 7-length head start. I thought it was a heck of a run. Time before that, Doncaster, he finished really strongly. Chased home Stunning Beauty, who I think is a progressive horse, and he's got a lot more to come as well. I think he's got a big chance in here. The weights are quite compressed, so he's usually lumping around big weights in handicaps off this mark of 103, 104. But the weights are quite compressed here. He's well in form. And he's improving slightly, like edging forward with his improvement. I still think he's got a bit more to come. I think this sort of time of year is when he goes well. And I think he'll be well suited by running there at Sandown. So, yeah, I didn't think there was too much wrong with him at 16-1. I thought the likes of Magical Morning could step forward for a reappearance run. But I just thought that the performance at Ascot was well worth upgrading over Magical Morning, who's half the price. So yeah, Beat Le Bon would be the one for me in this.
Okay, and they are both, as Daryl just said, at the time of recording this, about 14-1, 16-1 respectively. So nice each way prices. Andrew?
Yeah, 3 interesting ones for me. 2 Daryl's already covered. Beat Le Bon, who I've napped earlier this season after an eye catcher at Newmarket on his comeback when he did best of those to come from off the pace and best of those drawn low on the Rolling Mile. They then made the running with him at Leicester last time, which clearly didn't suit. I put him up at anti-post of the Hunt Cup, but then, of course, on the day I've been put off by the draw and not put him up as a bet in my column. And as Daryl says, he's run a blinder, beating all bar the winner, who's probably Group 1 material on the far side of the track there. And I just wonder whether the ground's going to be a little bit slow for him, though. I think his last 3 wins have come on good to firm ground, and I've been interested in him all season for Glorious Goodwood, where I think he's unbeaten in handicaps over 7 furlongs or further, 2 from 2. So see how he gets on here. But yeah, Goodwood could be the route for him subsequently. Plant a Dream, the other one who did best of those to come from off the pace, went 3rd at Epsom last time out. He should get the race run to suit here. Jamie Spencer gets on well with him, a win, 2 seconds and a 4th from 4 rides on him. And he's been back to anti-post 28-14s when the betting opened for this race. So expect him to go well. And
he's the best handicapped horse in the race, isn't he, surely?
Yeah, couldn't disagree with that. And the other interesting one is Montatham, the favourite. He seems useless, or not useless, but not as good as in the spring or the autumn. He's had 6 runs in the summer from June to August. He's won 5 of them. He finished 2nd in the other one, behind Dark Vision in the Royal Hunt Cup when he was badly drawn. And so only found that one too good. Dark Vision was running off 100. He's since won a Group 2 and is rated 113, so he was obviously well handicapped. So you could argue Montatham's unlucky not to be unbeaten in the summer months. Won't mind what the ground is. So he's solid enough at the head of the betting. But so I'll go with him over Plant a Dream and beat Le Bon. But there's a few too many chances for me to have a bet in the race, I think.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? I thought that. So that's that 225 at Sandown. We've got a fillies listed contest over a mile at 3 o'clock. And again, another fairly tricky contest. Would you like to start, Andrew?
It won't take me very long because this is horrendous. I really couldn't find much of an angle into this race. One I wanted to be. Willie Haggis has done well in this race over the years, but when you got horses like Ready to Venture who've won a Yarmouth Maiden and are 8-1, having sort of arrived here on the back of 2 comprehensive defeats, probably Daryl's nap. But you're just thinking she's priced up on who trains rather than what she's actually achieved. Seattle Rock is an incredibly quirky horse, hugely talented, trained by Sylvester Kirk. Looked like she was going to win various group races as a juvenile before finding 1 or 2 too good. Finally got broke her maiden last time out at Newbury when making all. And if she can put it all in, she could run a good race at a double figure price. But yeah, it was I want to play my get out of jail free card here, if I may.
Yeah, you wouldn't trust Seattle Rock to go and do it again, would you? That's the issue, I suppose. But at a double figure price, you could risk it. Seattle Rock currently at about 10-1, I think. Do you like anything in here, Daryl?
This is atrocious. The only angle I found into this race was to lay the favourite. This statement does not stay a mile. They continue to try and make this horse into a miler. My goodness, she doesn't stay a mile at all. God, she's dropping back to 6 furlongs, that horse, and you get the best out of her. Why they keep trying to run her over a mile, booking Ryan Moore, doing this, doing that? She's made the running. She's been held up. She's done all sorts. She's been... she just doesn't see out the mile at all. But the problem with the race is that she is probably the best horse in the race. So it's frustrating because the rest of them are of no level really at all. So I did sort of nearly come down on Seattle Rock, but I just thought that this is again. I just thought that novice race at Newbury really was just a really good opportunity for her rather than her taking a step forward. Auria was the one that I was interested in, but she was disappointing. It's the same story with a lot of these horses. You've got to really try and take on this favourite. You cannot be backing Statement at 9-4. I don't care if she wins. You can't be. But you've got to try and take the favourite on here. But then every other horse on their last outing you need to find an excuse for. Literally every other horse has ran poorly last time out. Lucid Dream is interesting, I suppose, because she's the most likely race in the field. But Auria was the one I sort of came down on. I thought her Ascot run behind Creative Flair was good. She finished just ahead of Ready to Venture there. But, I thought a stronger run race would have suited her. Then she went to Newbury and got a really strongly run race. She just showed absolutely nothing. Beating 5 lengths.
Maybe.
Yeah,
that was quarter, wasn't it? So.
Yeah, maybe it was a trip, but the time before that, she was looking like she wanted a mile and a quarter.
And then they look tripless. So what do you do?
Yeah, exactly. Maybe it might be the case that the drop back to a mile, slight ease in the ground, that might be the right combination for her rather than a mile and a quarter on quick ground. But again, you're taking a big chance. I would side. I've got to put a selection up, so I'll side with Auria. But it wouldn't be a confident one to get involved in for me.
Like you're saying, lay the favourite.
Yeah, lay the favourite.
Okay.
Favourite of bowl hot now.
They've been in such good heart for, well...
Just remember, the value of your investment can go down as well as up. So.
Yeah, there is that. Okay, on to the feature then. We've got that Coral Eclipse. 4 runners, really disappointing at 335. So I think the 5th prize for 16 grand goes to nobody, which is a shame. The last 19 winners of this race I read this morning have been aged 5 or over. So that kind of rules out the entire field except from Addeybb.
Oh, interesting.
Very good.
Addeybb won't mind the rain if we get more, will he? So that's positive. going to be tactical because we've got 4 runners. I do like Mishriff, but I just don't know what's going to happen. I like the form over in the UAE, but yeah, I think it's a really difficult one. So I won't put a selection, and I just would say I don't know. And they're the little bits of facts, and I hope they help. And if they don't, Andrew or Daryl will help you. So Andrew, you want to go first?
Yeah, I think I'm very similar to you here. I mean, it's a cracking contest in terms of, sort of tactics and who's going to make the running. And you got the last 2 winners of the French Derby, and Mishriff, who's David Egan's pension, won £9.5 million from his last 2 wins, and the jockey's percentage of that, I don't know if you want to work it out, Leonna, but I think it comes to a nice few quid. Yeah. So certainly put him on the map and put a permanent smile in his face, I would think, as well. You could say St Mark's Basilica seems again can race keenly, but has also managed to win small field tactical affairs, and so I wouldn't worry too much about the lack of runners for him. Addeybb, we love, he's fantastic. You have to go back a long way to find the last time he wasn't in the first 2 in one of his races. When he won on Champions Day, he had Mishriff well behind him that day, but there were excuses for Mishriff. But he really needs it ideally sort of soft or heavy, I think. And the way it's looking at the moment, there's probably going to be less rain than they actually would have watered, if they were going to water. So maybe after an 11-week break, despite those age stats, maybe we're going to see Addeybb run well without winning again. I couldn't have the 33-1 outsider El Drama. So yeah, it was a race to watch with interest for me, but that's about it. There's, I couldn't recommend a bet. I guess if you are going to, have one, then just have a stab on maybe Addeybb to finish second to the other 2 in a forecast, and or find a bookmaker who's offering Addeybb to finish exactly second. But yeah, I didn't like it from a punting perspective. No each way angle. Couldn't fancy the outsider. Very tricky.
Yeah, that's the difficult with 4 runners, isn't it? Trying to find an actual bet, but I'm sure it will be good to watch. Daryl?
Yeah, let's not mince our words. It's absolutely atrocious, this turnout for this. It's disgusting. How can you moan all season about bloody prize money? Yeah, BHA rating of 80 or above, you could have ran in this for 5th or 6th place prize money during the week. Like it's ridiculous.
16 grand to 5th.
Yeah, exactly. It's just ridiculous. You can't be moaning about prize money and not enter your horses. Exactly what David, what's his name? Minuzier. There you go. Look at that. Yeah. First time.
Or if you want to take the Nick Luck approach, it's David Minuzier. So,
David Minuzier. Yeah, exactly. He was bang on the money. Earlier in the week. Don't be sitting there moaning on Twitter like some of them do about the prize money this, prize money that, when you don't even enter your horses. Sorry, it's ridiculous. Anyway, back to the race. Yeah, Mishriff, massive fan of him last year. I was really, really big fan of him. And then he went to Ascot, and I could not, for the life of me, understand how he was 5-1 for the race. I could not work out why he was such a big price. I thought he should have been a clear favourite for the race. I was sold on him, and he just sort of was drifting in and out, had no support all day, and then ran a terrible, terrible race. Finished like a really tired horse. Absolute shadow of what we had seen the 2 starts prior to that, including the French Derby. I couldn't understand it, and I've never heard of it. I don't know what the excuse was for that day till now. I've never heard of an excuse, and I need a reason why a horse underperformed. I need to be able to forgive anything. I need a reason to be able to.
The only thing you could think of, if you were to think yourself, was he'd just come to the end of his season, as in he just needed a break, because that's all that happened. He went on a break and then he came back great. So,
and there were a lot of people saying that Champions Day ground was just absolutely desperate. I know it was officially soft, but most people were sort of thinking it's heavy, waterlogged in places, and some horses just weren't handling it. And as you say, at the end of a long, hard season as well, I think it's fairly safe just to, subsequent events show it was safe to draw a line through it anyway.
Yeah, it was just. I still can't get. I can't get past it.
Bad.
I can't. Maybe it was just too bad to be true, but I can't get past it. Of course, he's won the Shima Classic and the Saudi Cup since. He's a quality horse, no doubt about it. The point I was just going to touch on is just earlier this week he was hovering at around 5-2, and it's only the fact of declarations that he's 6-4. So I'm just, again, I've got that in the back of my mind that so a horse that's won the Shima Classic, Saudi Cup, and the French Derby, in 3 of his last 4 starts was hovering around 5-2 for a race like this, and I just thought, I don't know. I just get a little bit suspicious sometimes. I can't take the 6-4 back Mishriff. I'd happily watch. I thought St Mark's Basilica is probably the best of a average bunch of free rolls this year. Him and Poetic Flair, the standout candidates. I don't think anything else really comes close. So his form needs to take a step forward to live with the likes of Addeybb and Mishriff. I thought Addeybb was the bet in the race, to be honest with you, at 7-2. I know the ground's probably quicker than ideal, but I thought he'd have a soft lead on the front end. Mishriff can be a bit headstrong, probably likes to be held up. St Mark's Basilica, perhaps they're not running a pacemaker in here because he's going to make the running, I'm not sure. But I thought Addeybb would be more than comfortable on the front end. The blinkers are switched back out for the cheek pieces. 6 wins in these cheek pieces and a further 4 seconds. It's a great record in these. He was impressive the only time he's run at the course. He's been globetrotting, so he sort of ran the Australian pace. He's ran all these sort of different pace of races around the world. He's very adaptable. I think he's a very good horse. I think the 2 youngsters have got to step up to his level, really, if I'm being quite honest. So I kind of, it sounds completely stupid, but I kind of would have Addeybb as a week 2-1 fav really for this, rather than a 7-2 shot. So probably the bet, not overly confident that he'd win the race, but probably the right bet, Addeybb.
Okay, it is hard though. Difficult that. I don't know whether it would have been any easier with more runners, but we don't have them anyway. So, anything else at Sandown, Andrew?
No, not for me, Leonna.
Daryl?
Yeah, in the 4:10. Why Roger Cholton is not running Makram over at Haydock in the old Newton Cup? I don't know. Over a mile and a half, I don't know. But a stiff finish at Sandown over a mile 2. I think this is a weak Class 2 race, and I think he's definitely due to go in off this mark of 90. So Makram, I'm going to keep the faith with there. In the 4:45 at Sandown, I like Il Bandito. I think this horse is quite progressive. He's a really strong stayer over this 7 furlong, so this Sandown track's definitely going to suit him. Run to Freedom is the one that I'll make the serious danger to him, but he's not as strong at the death over this sort of trip because he can be very free, very headstrong, and he's one of the sole pace angles in the race.
That's a good name for a keen horse. Run to Freedom.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought Il Bandito for Charles Hills might be able to outstay Run to Freedom at the finish. He looks like he's ready to strike off this mark of 84. So those would be the other 2 at Sandown.
Yeah, okay. Perfect. On to Haydock we go. We've got the 205 there. It's a Class 2 long distance handicap. Willie Haggis won this race last year with Favourite Moon. He's got the current favourite in here at the moment, which is Dhushan. Really like this horse. Think he's been impressive in races when things haven't quite panned out, really. I think could be a group horse. I really like Dhushan in that 205. Andrew, do you want to go first?
Yeah, there's 2 horses running here for Mark Johnson, who I backed at Royal Ascot in the same race. Kondo Isami and Soapy Stevens. Now, Kondo Isami was a big eye catcher on his previous run at Doncaster when, as per usual, the round course there was eating front runners alive. I think there was 7 runners that day, 3 of them trained by Mark Johnson. And this was the one who raced closer to the pace than the other pair, and one of those winning under Franny Norton. Kondo Isami has performed miracles to finish a close second in that race. So I've had a good bet on him at Royal Ascot next time. He's been backed. I think it was 16-1, 14-1 overnight. He's gone off at 17-2. He's run an absolute shocker. He's finished last of the 17 runners. It looks like he's never seen a race course before. Slowly away and just pushed along and just like, what you doing to me? What's all this about? Leave me out. I don't want to know. And Soapy Stevens was similar. So. But Soapy Stevens had also caught the eye at Doncaster earlier in the season, making the running under Oisin Murphy and going down very narrowly. So I'll put him up as a bet next time. He won at Chester. He then followed that up with a win at Haydock, when surprisingly big, I think 5-2 in a 3-runner race. Mark Johnson's done really well in this race. He's won 2 of the last 3 renewals, and he sent out Subjectivist last year, who must have been a sort of handicap snip based on what he did in the Ascot Gold Cup, but he's managed to get beat by Favourite Moon. So it's a race that he targets and has done really well in. But this Kondo Isami I really like. I'm just going to draw a line through that Ascot run and back on a left-handed track. Maybe that's the key. and can see him bounce. I can see him bouncing back and running a really big race here. He's my nap of the week.
Okay. I've currently got best price for Kondo Isami about 9-1. I like Dhushan, as I said, who's about the 4-1 fab at the moment. Daryl, the 205.
Yeah, there's not many reasons to take Dhushan on here, really, is there? I mean, he's looked very impressive. He did it from the rear at Musborough last time off a slow pace. He ran a very good time for a full run of field at Haydock here. The time before that, he's looked visually very impressive. Mark of 92 should be more than within range in time. Step up and trip, I suppose. Slight question mark, given he hasn't run over it, but yeah, nice horse nonetheless. I am going to take him on though. The two I do like a Contact who tipped up at Pontefract last time, absolutely scooted home from the rear of the field despite the slow pace on offer. I think he is improving leaps and bounds, and the further he goes up and trip, the more he's going to appreciate it. The other one is Tashkhan as well. I thought he was a bit of an eye catcher at Ascot, actually, behind Surefire and the King George. He's slightly outpaced at a stage coming around the home bend, and then he didn't really have enough room just to sort of get going. And once he got in the clear, he sort of picked up. He was only beaten 4 lengths. And it just looked like he wanted even further. Time before at Haydock on soft ground, he absolutely hosed up, beating a good horse called Chalk Stream, and was behind Andy's selection, Kondo Isami, York. But the amount of ground he made up that day to chase home that horse and get to within a short head of him just marked him down as one to really keep on side. He started off... he finished up in Ireland off a mark of 57, came over here, was rated 70. He's up to 86, but Harry Russell's taken off £5, effectively off 81. Only £6 higher than that. His course win on soft ground here, beating Chalk Storm. I think there's a little bit more to come from this horse, Tashkhan, and this track definitely suits him really well. So a big double figure price. Was he around 14s? I think I'll take a chance on Tashkhan.
Okay, Tashkhan 14s, positive mention for Contact. Andrew napping Kondo Isami, yeah?
Yes, that's the one.
And my nap is Dhushan. Battle of the naps this week. Oh, that's a shame.
Thank God I'm not involved.
Shame for me, probably.
We can't both win. Well, I'm sure you
could be a dead heat.
Yeah, well, maybe. I doubt it though. Because mine will win, obviously.
Obviously.
Anyway, on to the 240. Feature race Lancashire Oaks at Haydock. Looking forward to this. Daryl, do you want to go first?
Oh, not really. This is a load of old rubbish. This way, this division, this division is so weak. It is so weak. It's ridiculous. I can't even begin to get over enthusiastic about this race. I thought Mystery Angel ran a blinder at Epsom behind Snowfall, but I haven't got a strong case for anything in this race, so can leave me out if that's okay for this one.
That's absolutely fine. Andrew?
Yeah, another tricky one. I mean, Alpinista's solid enough at the head of the betting, chased home Love in the Darley Oaks last year, and she won gamely at Goodwood. I'm not totally convinced that track's ideal for her, even though she did win. It was only narrowly, and I just think she puts in a shift every time she turns up. So she could do with the ground drying out. That seems to be the case at Haydock, so that will suit. Mystery Angel, I was just worried that she might have been a bit flattered by the Oak second. I say flattered, she was beaten 16 lengths, but she was one of the first ones to get to the near side rail, which was obviously a big help on the Friday of the Epsom meeting. So 11-2, I could forget that. I'd rather have Dubai Fountain, who ran a decent enough fifth at Royal Ascot, having disappointed in the Oaks when failing to settle and probably racing on the worst part of the track. But yeah, again, like Daryl, I wasn't totally taken by this race. Normally, with the Lancashire Oaks, you just say, right, what's John Gosden got? We'll back that. He's won 5 of the last 10 runnings. He hasn't got anything. How dare he?
Yeah, how rude. How rude. Okay. I didn't mind the look of the race, but never mind. What do I know? That's 240. We've got the even more difficult now. Old Newcombe Cup. Good luck to both of you in this 350. I think this is a bloody hard race. Daryl, do you want to go first again?
Yeah, Valyrian still win this. This horse took a massive step forward at Kempton last time, beating Gouter Bridge, who subsequently went out at Royal Ascot and run a run an absolute blind. I know he was beaten 3 lengths, finished 6:15 by Amtiaz, but in the Copper Horse. But I thought this was given a terrible ride, but he ran an absolute blinder off the front end, despite being very keen. The run in the Northumberland Plate next time just came too quickly. We discussed that last week. But Valyrian still, he's a strange horse. I'm not entirely sure he's been putting it all in yet, which suggests that he's got loads left in the tank, I think. Back on turf should not be an issue. I'm not overly worried at the moment that his best form has come on the all-weather surface. But I just think this horse, there was a lot of talk about this horse before he made his debut. And he's just improved and improved and improved. He's off a mark of 95. I think there's plenty more to come from him, given the way he finished his race at Kempton last time. And with that form working out quite nicely, I think he's got a massive chance of a mark of 95. If he doesn't win this, I'd like to see him chuck some headgear on him, because he does think about it under a little bit of pressure. But once he decides he's going to go through with it, then he's quite impressive. So I thought Valyrian still around 9-1 was a good bet. There's quite a few in here you can make cases for. Dark Jedi, Pirate King's interesting. The other one, Midnight's Legacy, is interesting. Off a mark of 100, but again, the way this one finished at Epsom, beating two decent yardsticks at Epsom's course, Soto Sizzler and Group 1 Power, suggests that there's more to come from Midnight's Legacy. But I thought Valyrian Steel was probably the best handicapped horse in the race, off a mark of 95. And I do like Roger Varian for these sort of big field handicaps like this.
I know we're mad at John Gosden that he didn't have one in the last race, but he does have one in this race that I do like. I thought Grand Bazaar is another interesting horse. Obviously, they're kind of all each way value, aren't they, in this race? Had the reappearance run at Newmarket. I don't really think small fields actually suit this horse. I think wants a big field with a good pace to aim at. Don't know that Grand Bazaar wants soft ground, so hoping there's not much rain, but I think he's unexposed and really grinds things out. So Grand Bazaar would be mine. Valyrian Steel for Daryl, and Andrew likes
Zabeel Champion, whose form ties in closely with that of Grand Bazaar, having got the better of that Smallfield Newmarket race in which Grand Bazaar was very close third. He went to Royal Ascot next time, ran against one that Daryl tipped up, Quickthorn, for Huey Morrison. Now, although the winner was up with the pace, as was Zabeel Champion, I don't think that was the ideal tactic that day, and 4 of the first 6 home came from much further back. And I thought it was a good performance by Zabeel Champion in third that day. And given Haydock and the propensity of prominent racers who win here and how well Mark Johnson does at this track, I thought Zabeel Champion round about 9-1 was probably a shade overpriced. Valyrian Steel, say like Daryl, I'm a fan of. I've tipped him up on the all-weather at Kempton previously. Did really well to sort of quicken from off the pace last time out. Just worry whether it will still be a shade soft for him and whether he is going to be as good on turf. But couldn't put you off apart from that slight doubt. And Longside is fascinating, making his turf debut, having impressed on the all-weather the last twice. But yeah, I'll stick with Zabeel Champion, but it's a tricky race again.
Yeah, very. Completely agree. Anything else for you at Haydock, Andrew?
Not at Haydock, but we've got a couple from other meetings when we get to that.
Daryl, anything for you at Haydock?
No, I'm gonna have a go. I'm gonna have a bash later at the 1:30. But I'll have to update. I haven't done that race yet.
That's fine.
Good race.
Right, do you want to do anything anywhere else, Andrew, for me?
There's the opener at Leicester on Saturday, 1:00. It's a cellar, and Adrian Nichols has got one, so that's of immediate interest. I mean, we saw him saddle a 14-1 winner of a cellar here earlier in the season with Mo Salita, who went on to win 5 in a row before placing at Royal Ascot. Now, the one he's got here is Lethally Lovely, who probably did too much too soon at Redcar last time out and drops in grade. Stall 11's a bit of a concern, but if she just breaks and gets across to the middle of the track and gets away from that stand-side rail where it's usually slower, then she should go well. He's had 21 runners and sellers, Adrian Nichols, 9 winners and a profit of, £49.40 to a £1 level stake at SP. So he's also had a couple narrowly beaten at big prices as well. So those figures could be even better with a bit more luck. The other one I was going to side with is Carlisle on Saturday night, the 7:20. Denzil's Laughing, who was an eye catcher against biases twice before I napped him at Musselburgh a day or two ago. And unfortunately, he got absolutely mullered on the rail and got no sort of run, and just he was allowed to come home in his own time. So, maybe he's turning into a bit of a chronic excuse horse, but he was a winner at Catterick 4 runs ago. And I'm going to give Denzil's Laughing one more chance in the 7:20 at Carlisle.
Okay, that's anything anywhere else for Andrew? Daryl, have you got anything from anywhere else for us?
Yeah, there was a good bit of support for that Denzil's Laughing as well, wasn't there, at Musselburgh? Yeah, but they're only price dependent, really. I've got a feeling they both might be short. If they're short, then I'm making a stand from tomorrow that anything sub 2 to 1, I'm not backing. So
you can back them in a double. Back them in a double.
135 at Leicester. Ensyaaby, Visor goes back on, and Visor goes on. He's back into a maiden. He's definitely shown enough that he could win a race like that. It was quite an eye-catching run last time. Again, he might be, like Andrew said, a horse that's you're going to make too many excuses for, but he's definitely worth keeping an eye on if he's 2 to 1 plus. 850 at Carlisle as well. Praiano, a horse for Roger Varian, looks a really nice and proven type. Runs in a maiden. Again, another one that's shown enough to think you can pick up a race of that nature. So those would be the two, but price dependent. If they're in the column, back them. If they're not, then don't.
Okay. Naps. Just tell me naps again.
Yeah, I'm Kondo Isami at Haydock.
In the same race as my Dhushan. Daryl?
I might go in the same race. No. Valyrian Steel would be my nap in the old Newton Cup at 3:15 at Haydock.
You are brave napping in that race. Okay, that's it then for the scheduled races and the extra things from the guys. As you heard Daryl say there as well, don't forget to check out their columns because they are obviously a more updated version of this video, I guess. So if the rain comes or doesn't come and they change their mind either way, they will let you know. Obviously, Arw Mount is trend horses and Daryl Carter is exactly that. You can also check everything out on GG's social media pages as well as the website at GG.CO.UK. There's loads of extra stuff on there, videos, tips, race cards, and other bits and bobs and so on. So do check all of that out. Hopefully we'll be talking to you again next week when we've had loads of winners.